I have an idea. I want to move the bowls to the preseason.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I like
what
that.
I would do. I still want last year's results to decide bowl matchups for the first game of the year. So instead of wasting your time having who's opting out, right, of what bowl game, and you're not sure whether it's worth watching or not, unless they have a really cool halftime show or a mascot eating another mascot, right?
Yeah.
The Pop-Tart guy, right? It's really not that interesting. But look, they've got to turn December into the college football playoff. I'm with you. It needs to be that, and you end January. The national title game should be January 8th, 9th, 10th at the latest, right? The NFL regular season is likely going to end somewhere in the second week of January. So that means college football essentially has from December 1st through January 10th to do their playoffs. That's plenty of time as far as I'm concerned. And that should be fine. What is distracting are the bowl games that don't count towards the playoff. And more importantly, these bowl games are no longer the economic engines for the local tourist economy. You don't go to the Liberty, nobody goes to the Liberty Bowl to go hang out in Memphis anymore. Nobody goes to the Independence Bowl to go see what's going on in Shreveport or whatever. But if you moved all those games to August and you started college football preseason bowl games, second week of August. Look, you're in the South these days, public school begins in the first week of August. Okay. But the NFL doesn't begin until after Labor Day. So college football, and think about what's in August. Nothing. You can own that month all by yourself. Instead of just owning that one Labor Day weekend, right? You get to own 3 or 4 weeks.
So what do you think? Move the bowl games, Music City Bowl, matchup from last year. You do the standings from last year, do the bowl invite. That's how you'll start off the college football season, with those games at the Music City Bowl and at the Liberty Bowl, at the Citrus Bowl, the Orange Bowl.
It's not a terrible idea.
I don't hate the idea.
Okay, there are a couple of flaws.
Okay,
if players even care about the reward that was their season. So last year, LSU, I'm sure players weren't excited to be in the Texas Bowl. Maybe the Baylor players were. But those guys, coming back the next year, what do you think the roster turnover is? Attrition on roster 50% probably now?
Maybe even more now.
But what I look at it like this, okay, that's a reward for that season. But we're starting off, basically these are non-scheduled week 0 games.
Are they regular season games that count in the standings?
I would count them in the standings.
Well, not necessarily standings because it's not conference.
No, but if it's got to be part of the regular season.
I agree 100%.
I would count them in our heads. Right? In our votings, in our strength of schedule and all of that, but not everybody's going to get to play this extra game. You have to earn it the year before.
That's right.
And you get to play these games. But we got like matchups here, right? So we're going to have, teams that qualified for the Music City Bowl had sort of the same type of season. Teams that qualified for the Citrus Bowl had sort of the same type of season. It doesn't mean they're going to be equal teams the next year because the roster is different. But the programs are going to be sort of in the same place in that period of time, and it gives us a great way to start off the season at a couple of different points over the course of 2 weeks.
Week 1, we've got some really good matchups. But if you had in week 0 going into week 1, I'll just go through some of them quickly.
So these are the bowl games last year? Okay.
Yeah, Florida-Tulane.
Yeah.
Be a fun game to start off with.
Texas, San Antonio, Coastal Carolina. I know it's a Group 5, but that's still a cool matchup. I'm just going to jump around on some of these.
Better than a lot of games we're getting on week 0.
Yeah. Kansas State, Rutgers, and the Rate Bowl ended up being a 44-41 Kansas State win. That was a great game, but I don't know. Navy, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech.
All right.
Yep.
Arkansas, Texas Tech.
Okay, now you're getting my attention.
Syracuse, Washington State.
All right.
USC, A&M. UConn, North Carolina. Nebraska, Boston College, Iowa State, Miami, BYU, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Missouri, Iowa. Michigan, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Louisville, Washington. Illinois, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
LSU, Baylor. Ole Miss.
It's Tuesday. It's 12:15. That means it is the Pennant Grace. My name is Emily Grace. This is Ush. We talk about the Braves every Tuesday and Thursday, and we love it. And today, is Profar Eve for all that celebrate.
Yes, it is. And boy, howdy, do we need it. Even better, it's 4th of July week.
Yes, we are so excited. We do have some programming notes for you guys, but up here at TNR, we are actually headed to the weekend after today's show and after the meltdown, of course. And so we will not see you guys in studio on Thursday, but we're planning a little live reaction post-game moment.
Yeah, so after today, no next round, no meltdown, and no Pennant Grace for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But make sure you're following us on social media, especially on X. You'll see plenty of content. I promise to carry my load on that.
You do carry your... I don't. I'm going to be honest. But this is the thing. By the time these games are ending, I'm like cozied up, like usually like my bathrobe and like, I don't know. I feel like...
It's okay.
It's just, I don't know.
I'm not putting on a tuxedo for these.
No, but I'm like in my pajamas. I just don't know if our Pennant Grace following really, I don't know. I could go more casual, but that's not really in my nature.
Scott Forrester and Dr. Tim Melton behind the glass. Either one of you, it's a personal question.
Okay.
Either one of you wear pajamas? What would be described as pajamas?
Negative. I wear pajama pants sometimes.
Okay.
Occasionally.
Okay.
They're too hot.
Yeah. I can't fathom sleeping in pants.
Yeah. I mean, it's rare.
My wife sleeps in pants year-round, pajama pants.
I love pajamas. I'm a matching set pajama wearer.
Going to go more personal.
Okay.
Taking it up.
You know, we don't plan these for those watching. I don't know what's going to come out of his mouth.
See, my wife makes us do the matching sets, like as a family at Christmas.
Yeah.
Like we've got several of those.
I've got one of those. I put it on for the picture and take it back off. Do you two? This question's not for you.
Okay.
Do you two sleep in a shirt?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So that also seems odd to me to sleep in. That would be uncomfortable, in my opinion, to sleep in a shirt.
I agree.
Yeah.
My favorite pajama brand, this is not sponsored, but I love you guys, Lake Pajamas.
Okay.
And they're extremely overpriced, but they are worth it. It's a splurge. And I will always splurge on pajamas.
Mine is Hanes, also not a sponsor. It is extremely underpriced, and I've had them. I don't remember who was president when I got them.
Jimmy Carter?
But they're sleep shorts, and that's it. That's all you're getting. And socks. I made the change sleeping in socks. I know. Let me explain it. No. Hold on, Scott. Let me explain it. This was about 3 years ago. I had the worst, most cracked heels in the world. And a friend of mine told me, she said,
what are we doing here?
I don't know.
You will start sleeping in socks. I said, I'm not doing lotion. She said, don't worry about that. Sleep in socks. Your heels will be fine. And she was right.
There's only one type of socks that Scott Forrester supports, and that is the white socks.
Oh,
no, but what about my dad's socks?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I have a sock. I have a sock hookup, and
it's a joke, E.G.
It's
doesn't
right here.
work if I go, there's two types of socks.
So she gets all the socks. I get it, and Nick, I know I was against it too, but my heels are now buttery soft just because I sleep. in socks.
I'm with Nick. This is a no go.
It's so gross to me. Like that's a sensory issue for me to sleep in socks, and I am the daughter of a sock mogul.
Yeah, well. You're gross.
Well, all that to say, my favorite pair of pajama pants is actually a pair, they're Dunder Mifflin themed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're from The Office. And they're like flannel, like a t-shirt material.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, folks, don't sleep on the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, there it is. The tie-in that we were all desperately needing, because I didn't know where this was going to wrap up in a bow. But I'm glad you brought it back to
what a segue.
What the show is
so
about.
The show is socked.
Yeah.
The Braves. The Atlanta Braves. So people have lost hope. Robert says, as positive as I've tried to be, I'm back in the pit. That's why we love you guys, because we enter the pit of despair together, we rise out of it, and then we fall right back down.
Yeah, and if you're a regular viewer or listener to the show, you know that I can officially press the panic button today. It's July 1st. I am not pressing the panic button today, but it's it's in my mind. It's possible to see. We hit so hard on this show, this stretch that the Braves just concluded. And it wasn't...
It was disappointing.
Successful. It also wasn't some, this is horrible. It was just, kind of typical of the 2025 Braves. It was meandering, and I just, again, I know I keep going back to this, but the National League has just been so competitive.
So competitive.
And it's difficult at this point to see Atlanta as a postseason team, but Atlanta did not have a winning record going into August
2021.
of 2021 when they won the World Series. So you got to keep that in mind. And this is a pivotal stretch because we're coming up now. And, you know, left field is about to change starting tomorrow.
We'll get to that in just a second.
Profar Eve today.
Yep.
For all those that celebrate. All-Star break, trade deadline. All these things are right now. It's
staring at
on the horizon. Yeah. And so a lot can happen.
Well, and so I think that's what we need to kind of get into. I think the return of Profar is significant for a few reasons.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're almost, I don't know, beating a dead horse at this point because we keep finding these like points of hope, if you will, to say, hey, this is when the Braves can turn it around. This is when the Braves can turn it around. And it just feels like after this last stretch, especially against the Phillies, it's like, come on.
I do feel like that this is warranted. Look, the left field production after strong starts and little faint hope, which has mainly been Eli White, Alex Verdugo, although this weekend moving Eli White into center, resting Michael Harris, which I applaud Brian Snitker and company for doing. It was needed.
So needed.
And putting Stuart Fairchild in left. The left field production at the plate has been abysmal, and Atlanta has been among the worst teams in baseball as far as that goes. And Profar is coming off a career year and has done very well in Gwinnett. And so
326 is average right now, by the way.
Will one guy make all the difference? Absolutely not. Ronald Acuna Jr., who is a top 5 player in all of baseball, hasn't made all of the difference. But it does help.
Yes, it does help. And I think you mentioned Acuna. If you can get continued production from him, and then you add Profar to that, and Matt Olson. Matt Olson is huge in this.
Because Matt Olson has really picked it up.
Yes, he has. We cannot overstate that.
He's the only one that has.
Exactly.
But he's picked it up. So where do you see Profar
fitting in the order?
Yes.
Okay, so this is interesting because Snit was actually talking about this, and I agree with him. I think it's going to be a middle of the order situation because right now what you have is working.
Five or six, yeah.
What are you?
I agree.
Yeah, and I have the actual quote right here.
And was that something to do with Drake Baldwin? If Baldwin's in the lineup, maybe Baldwin bats fifth,
and then they kind of enter.
If Murphy's in the lineup, I think Profar bats fifth.
So this is what Snit said. I think we can move him around kind of in the middle of the order, recognizing the advantages of Profar's switch hitting ability. He added the fact that he's a switch hitter is going to work out good. I do kind of like the Olsen thing behind Ronald. I think that's real.
Yeah.
I agree.
I do too.
I like that acknowledgement too of, hey, that is working right now. And there's been a lot of discussions about his management with the lineup. And right now it's trending in the right direction. And the versatility that Profar offers you in the order is pretty important too, because you mentioned the Drake Baldwin, Sean Murphy element to this as well.
Can you imagine if you had 2024 Marcell Ozuna right now? What a huge difference that would be. Think about as the team ebbed and flowed, you know, how good and consistent Marcell just carried the team for such a long time offensively. If we had not even that. What if just like average Marcell? Because Marcell's in a real slump. He's not. Did not have a good June at all.
No.
And if you even had that, what that would mean to that front end of the lineup. So chat's been on fire, by the way. Nick, putting Profar second behind Acuna. You know, there is something to be said for that. I do. You know, I don't know. Sometimes I think Matt Olson is the best pure power hitter on the team.
He's so unlucky. He's just unlucky.
He is. And so, you know, putting him at third, I don't know. I do think Profar has the opportunity to move up in the order. I think he's going to start out in that 5-6, and he'll go back and forth there. But I think he has the opportunity for them to continue to tweak with the lineup.
But see, to me, I think in my opinion, it's going to remain fluid. I don't think that we'll get to a point this season where Profar is locked into a specific spot. Is that fair?
It is fair.
And I think that he could, go up in the order for a couple series. And I think that he could find his way depending on what his surroundings are doing. And we know there's going to be a slight drop you would expect from the minors coming back up.
Yeah.
But he is getting reps right now, which is super important. And I think, his average and what he's putting out in the minor leagues also, there was a lot of questions too about, he has his career year, but he gets suspended. Were they correlated?
Yeah.
But based on his production we're seeing right now, and I have the numbers, I mentioned his average.
So while you look those up, Chad.
326.
Okay.
Alongside 3 home runs and 9 RBIs.
Okay.
So, and 99, whoa. What is that? Sorry, I got a weird pop-up.
Okay.
High OPS.
Yeah.
And so this is good. And it kind of speaks to the fact that he is able to produce some, compelling numbers despite what we may have thought about the reason why he was so compelling last season.
That OPS is huge. We need the Braves need guys getting on base. So, I don't know what. I think you're right. I think that lineup is changing at least through the month, and unless they just strike something that really really hits,
right?
Interested in what other people think about in the in the chat about the welcome that he'll receive, and I forget who said this on X. Someone said, "I don't care what kind of welcome. If he's hitting, he's welcome."
Yeah.
And I know that's the fan perspective, and we'll see. I think the culture is good enough in the Atlanta clubhouse that won't be an issue.
Yeah. Robert says that's my thought on Profar EG. Yes, the minors look good, but do we fully know what to expect?
No, we don't.
We don't.
I do think we have reason to be optimistic and hopeful for this.
Yes.
And I think that's well placed.
Right. Let's talk about the All-Star voting.
Yeah.
Because we have not been doing a very good job as a Brave show-ish of promoting that we need to be voting.
Too busy talking pajamas.
I know, we are. So All-Star voting, Ronald Acuna is currently leading.
Yeah, so Nick had that early in the chat say that he's really shot up, as he should, no matter where the All-Star game was being held. The way he's playing, Ronald Acuna Jr. deserves to be there without a doubt. We know he's participating in the home run derby.
He was one of the first ones to say it, too.
He was,
yeah,
and one of the game's biggest stars. So being there in Atlanta, I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be a part of the team and be playing in that game as he should. It's up to you, everyone else, if you want to vote for another Brave. I think that, Matt Olson is playing well. It's not the best first baseman in the National League. That's the guy that used to play first base for Atlanta.
We still have a lot of love for.
But Matt Olson is definitely playing well. I think there's a couple others you could look at. And obviously, I hate it so much for Chris Sale. I hate it for the Braves and for us as fans.
Well,
but
so
Spencer
sad.
Schwellenbach is deserving to be an All-Star.
Yeah.
And in fact, I would put him behind, knowing Sale is injured and knowing that Strider missed so much time. I think the second most deserving Brave as an All-Star is Spencer Schwellenbach.
Yeah. So phase 2 is open and it will close at noon tomorrow. So you've got a little under 24 hours. So get those votes and let us know if you have already voted. It is important, right, to see, the Braves out there.
It is.
And it is so unfortunate for Chris Sale. It seems like so much momentum. Think about where we were about 2.5 weeks ago. We were in a good spot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of momentum. There was a lot of excitement. And now you're in a spot where, unfortunately, your ace is hurt. You didn't capitalize really on this stretch that we put a lot of weight in.
Okay.
And there's a lot of discussion if the Braves are going to be sellers or what the situation is there.
So, all yes to what you said. And here's what your issues are. All of a sudden now you have rotation concerns.
Yep.
And you feel pretty confident you need at least one starter. You've had bullpen concerns all year. Your center fielder and your second baseman and your left fielders have not been hitting. Your DH is not hitting the way he needs to be hitting. These are all major concerns. You have players in June that were like, historically low in Harris and Albies and Ozuna, who you're not used to seeing in that. So there's a lot. And too, Marcel, we talked about Marcel being that number one chip, for trades. And, the value's down. That's no question. That doesn't help Atlanta at all, either as, benefiting from his good play, or if they were to trade him. I still think he'd have interest in him, but it's not going to be – if it was last year, it would be through the roof right now.
Yeah. So the Braves will start the series with the Angels tonight in Truist Park, and they are in town through the 4th. And so there's, some positives with this, Angels series. One thing is that there's going to be some reunions.
Yeah.
At Truist. You have d'Arnaud, you have Soler, and who am I missing?
And Charlie Morton. Who will be taking the mound. And so Charlie will be starting, which is really, really cool. I retweeted this from Mark Bowman earlier. I really hope that d'Arnaud and Uncle Charlie get big reactions. Yeah. And I think they will.
I think they will as well.
Popular guys. And I think d'Arnaud comes up to that plate. The fans are really going to.
Yeah.
Because I think most Brave fans know his value extended
far beyond the field. Yes. We have been the biggest, I feel like, proponents of that. And so I am excited to see them back in Truist Park. I expect a warm welcome from them. Ron Washington, as far as we know, will not be.
Out for the whole season with health issues, and everyone hates that. Few people more beloved in Braves country than Wash.
Yeah, so we'll continue our thoughts and prayer with him and his family. Ben Joyce also, we love him.
Friend of the show. He
will not be playing. Unfortunately, he's on the other side of surgery and injury, so he's on the mend. But I feel like this series, July, the Braves need a miracle.
Yeah, so let's look at it.
Yeah.
So 6:15 start times, by the way, for all three matchups. They switched up, and now Holmes is starting tonight. They made that change.
Yes.
And then you have immediately followed by the series beginning on Friday the 4th, which is the Baltimore Orioles. Don't you love interleague play?
That's my favorite thing ever.
Another Monday. You got 3 Monday days off in a row. And then you go to not Oakland, Sacramento. Play the A's.
Sacramento A's.
Then you go to St. Louis to play the Cardinals. Another day off on a Monday. Then the All-Star. So, then the All-Star game, obviously off that. And then you welcome the Yankees and the Giants. Ooh. Good look for big attendance at both of those series, especially that New York series because it's over the weekend. Off on a Thursday, and then you go to Arlington to play the Rangers, and then Kansas City, and then Cincinnati to start to end July and start August. So that's the way that July looks, and it's honestly a mixed bag.
Yeah.
You have good teams and bad teams in there, and you're not playing your division.
No. So we really looked at the month of June as kind of that get-right time, especially leading up to the All-Star break. But when you look at July, the Braves have got to gain ground, and it's going to be hard because you're not playing in your division.
I don't like that.
He does not like that at all.
I don't like you're not playing your division all
of July basically.
Month. Smuff, is Anthony Rendon playing for the Angels? It's a great question. Is Anthony Rendon still alive? I know he's getting paid.
He is. The search is Anthony Rendon injured? Is Anthony Rendon still playing baseball? Is Anthony Rendon retired? Those are the top 3 searches.
That counts.
Yeah.
I think there are retired players that have played more.
Yeah, he has registered no stats this season.
Okay. Yeah.
Hip surgery in February 2025.
There you go.
That'll do it.
Poor Angels, man.
I know. We don't call them the Anaheim Braves for nothing.
Yeah, poor Angels.
You mentioned the rotation tweaks. So there's not really, they're just switching and swapping.
And swipping.
I like that. Swipping.
Yeah, when you swip and swap,
You swipping.
Swip.
So they're switching and swapping Holmes for Fuentes, but they're sticking with the same guys.
Yeah.
And then Elder we'll see on Thursday.
For that Fuentes start, I encourage everyone out there to drink.
Oh.
Probably going to need it.
Yeah, you might.
Do whatever it is you do.
Do whatever it is you need to get through.
To get through certain things.
Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of going to do it for today's show.
Well, wait a minute.
What?
I was at the Braves game
gosh.
Sunday.
I'm so sorry, Ush.
I was in your town.
You were. And I already forgot how short my memory is.
Truist Park. Thank you, Scott. So you see my son, his friend, daughter, wife, and me. We're in section 11, row 11. Great seats. So we are right at the end of the netting there as you approach the right field corner. And obviously the Braves lost 2-1. Good pitching matchup. Ranger Suarez for Philadelphia and Spencer Strider for Atlanta. They did very good. And the Braves had a chance to win the game there and walk it off. And so obviously you don't want to lose, but we had a great time. The staff at Truist Park is outstanding, from the concession to the ushers, to the people taking your ticket, everybody. It was great, and we had a great time. See us there with Pennant Grace Phillies correspondent Travis Millsaps and his lovely wife Gail. We were able to meet up with them. They were at the game the previous night, and they were still in town, so we were able to meet up before the game. Had just an outstanding good time. Had a little section there in section 11 where you could go under, and you had your own little area where there was concessions.
Yep.
It's like the
popcorn
dugout
is right there.
Dugout club or something. Yeah, popcorn and ice cream was free, and then you could buy your concessions, and
nice.
They had bathrooms down there and everything like that. It was really, really
good.
Cool. No problems getting in and out. Had just a great day at the ballpark. Win or lose, if you're at the ballpark, it's a great time, and so looking forward to being back. Millie has a new second favorite Brave. Ozzy is still her first favorite, but she has a new second favorite Brave. No, that's Megan's favorite.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's going to be like mother like daughter.
Dreamboat Express, Austin Riley. Now, Millie, my 16-year-old daughter, has a Brave that she's really fond of. Stuart Fairchild.
Really? I can see that.
They look the same age
They
is
do.
the reason. So I think, he looks like he just got his license too. So Stuart Fairchild for the Braves. You have a fan in my daughter.
Good. Stuart, if you're listening, congratulations. Millie's opinion matters.
It does.
And we're very happy for you. Were y'all in the shade? That was my last question.
We were not in the shade, but we had plenty of cloud cover, so it'd be sunny and then a little cloudy and then sunny and cloudy, but we stayed dry. A couple of tiny little raindrops that you thought, but it was nothing.
Good.
And so, great time.
Okay, for the 4th, if you want to be in style, did you wear a Roback, by the way, to the game?
I had a Braves shirt on for the game, but I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw Roback, of course, at Truist, as you would expect. And we're heading up for a big Roback week.
We are.
Because it's 4th of July week. And
I feel like this has to be their best time of year, besides Christmas.
Nobody's got you. Well, but we talked about how great Masters Week was.
I know.
I mean, like in college football kicking off, coming up soon.
There's so many good things.
In August. For all of those who crave activity, you belong in the Roback family. Go to roback.com, fill your cart. Had a conversation with a neighbor last night about this very thing.
You did.
He had a Roback shirt on.
Did you say?
And we went right to it, and I said, fill that card up, and at checkout, enter the code PG20 and save 20%, neighbor.
You know what I'm curious about? We're going to do a poll after we end the show asking if y'all have used the code.
Yeah.
Is that fair to do?
Yeah, of course.
I'm really curious how many of y'all have taken advantage of this because I feel like a lot of you have, but we don't know that number.
Yes.
I'm wearing Roback today.
The chat is on fire
I know,
today.
you guys are so fun.
Nick asking what the password is to get down in the club for the ice cream, and Scott replies, it's Ush sleeps in socks.
So good.
I'll take the heat on that. I agree. I would be against it too if I weren't doing it.
Yeah, let us know if you also sleep in socks. I think you're in the minority there, but we love you right on.
We love to live in this country and the country that started baseball.
Yes, we do.
Whatever happens, baseball will always remain America's pastime. And to live here in Braves country that is America's team.
Yes,
That's the moniker given to them at the dawn of TBS. And for most of us, we've kept that. And it still feels right to me. Land of the free, home of the Braves.
I was waiting for it. All right, so we will not be with you guys Thursday at 12:15, but look out for a post-game live show from me and Ush. I'll be in Atlanta. You'll be in Birmingham.
Yeah, so it's not just going to be me.
No.
Checking in.
It will be together. We'll be together. It'll be live, so you guys can all join in. Excited. Okay, until then, Braves Country, we love you, and happy 4th of July.